We're having a look at the book of Daniel and Daniel's visions about the kingdom of God that was to come. And first of all, in Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar had that famous vision of this big statue, this big image, the head being of gold, and that being Babylon, and the next kingdom after that being Media-Persia, and then the waist being the kingdom of Greece, led by Alexander the Great, and the legs and feet being the kingdom of Rome. And the vision in Daniel chapter 2 says that in the days of the last kingdom, the Roman Empire, a stone cut out without hands, meaning not this is a kingdom not made of man, comes from heaven and smites that image on the feet. And then that stone establishes as a mountain, as a new kingdom, and grows and expands and fills the entire earth. This is very similar to Isaiah's vision of the kingdom of Christ. So in Daniel chapter 2, it said specifically that this kingdom would begin, be planted, begin to spread during the days of the Roman Empire. Very clear vision. Now we jump across to Daniel chapter 7, and there it says that God takes one born from among men, and one like the Son of Man ascends up into heaven and sits down at the right hand of majesty, the right hand of power in heaven, and then from there rules the nations. So here we see the beginning of this kingdom, Christ's kingdom, that was to take place at the ascension of Jesus Christ, when he would rise, and from that point he would sit down and begin to rule over the nations. His kingdom would begin to expand and take rule over the earth. Now if we go across to Daniel chapter 9, we have another vision of this kingdom. These are very clear visions, all of them. And Daniel chapter 9 talks about the end of the Old Testament age, the judgment of Jerusalem, the destruction of the temple. And also says that at that time, God will establish a new kingdom with a new ruler, and this kingdom would expand through the nations. In Daniel chapter 9, Daniel even gives the time that this would happen. He mentioned 70 weeks that's 490 years from the time that Israel would be returned from Babylon to rebuild Jerusalem in the Old Testament times. From that time of the rebuilding of Jerusalem until the coming of Christ, the coming of the new ruler, the Messiah, the new kingdom, would be 490 years. And so when we fast forward to the 1st century AD, we see the Jews with a heightened expectation. They know that the promises of Isaiah about the kingdom, their kingdom coming and them receiving dominion over the Romans and over their enemies, and this dominion going out to all the nations that Isaiah talks about and Daniel spoke about, and even Daniel, as I said, giving the date of this. And so Israel knew that this was at hand, that this was imminent, that this 490 years calculated out to the 1st century that they were then living in. So there was a great expectancy about this kingdom and about its coming. The only question then is how would this kingdom come? In what way would this be established? What type of kingdom this is? Who would be the heirs of this kingdom? And this becomes much of the discussion of Paul's epistles. Who are the heirs are those of faith. And so this was the question at the time that Jesus came. How would this kingdom come? How would it be established? How would this dominion over Rome and over the nations be accomplished? What is the nature of this new kingdom? What does it look like? How does it function? So these were the questions in everyone's mind when Jesus came. And when Jesus came, he wasn't denying this expectation. He was announcing its fulfillment. He came preaching that the time is at hand. The kingdom of God is near. The time is fulfilled. And so Jesus was very clearly announcing the fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecies and of Daniel's prophecies, being the reason why he came. And so this kingdom, the establishment of the kingdom, is now the content of Jesus' announcement. It is the content of his message in the Gospels. And we're going to have a look at that in the next short video.